We are back. Could you believe it's day 31 of Miracle March? Day 31. Guys, we have one more day tomorrow and today should have actually been the last day, but we extended it to April 1st to just get that last person in there, right? Like the giving never stops. And so day 31, guys, if this is your first time tuning in, Miracle March is just an intentional month of transforming minds by influencing, coaching, and motivating aspiring entrepreneurs and equipping them with tools to succeed. And it's been my pleasure to be the guide here in these conversations just to connect with other aspiring entrepreneurs because it's just been so amazing in being able to help with clarity, being able to give strategic tips that really transform lives and help people go towards doing more deals or even having more healthier families. And so today we got Dylan. What's up, bro?
Hey, Keston, it's good to see you, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing so amazing, dude. Dude, how are you? Tell us who you are really quickly and let's get into it. Today's all about you, by the way, right? There's
Oh
no
man, come on, don't do me like that.
there's no limitations on what you can ask or talk about. So who are you, bro?
Well, so like you said, my name is Dylan Faltus. I'm here in Tampa, Florida. I was born and raised here in Tampa, Florida. I'm an entrepreneur as well. About around 2 years ago now, I left my corporate job, started a company doing real estate investing. And so I do that full time, have a small team here in Tampa, and this is what we do all day, every day.
Bro, I love it, man. And so your story is similar to mine.
hmm
Tell us a little bit about your journey in leaving your job. Like, what was that like in being able to transition into this phase of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it was the single hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. It's been great. It's had a ton of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of failures, but it's been very rewarding. But yeah, without a doubt, the single hardest thing ever. I've been watching a lot of your content, and so there is a lot of similarities to the path that you took. Had a corporate job, was making good income, but was not really feeling fulfilled, and I just felt like there was more that I could be doing, and I just had a desire to do more outside of that W-2 just kind of realm, I guess. And
Yeah.
so I was actually working for a company that my family owns. The family had
Mm,
founded the company. I started working there. I've been working there my entire life, and it was kind of the path of least resistance. I felt like I could continue to work there, continue to make good money, and kind of had this predefined path uh, handed to me in a lot of ways. And you still had to work hard, but the path was already cleared, and you just had to go and walk down it. And I just, after time, realized that I wanted something different. I wanted to make something on my own for good, bad, or indifferent, whether it's a success or failure. At least I can say I did it on my own without any help. So that was kind of the genesis that made me want to take that plunge and leave and go start my own thing in a whole different industry. And it happened to be real estate. But yeah, that was kind of the synopsis of it.
man, that's pretty awesome. And you know, a lot of the coaching and even the programs and the things that I'm building out right now is really surrounding this question that I'm gonna ask. And I'll break it down a little bit more after I ask this question. But what's two things? Only two. There's I'm sure there's a lot, but what's two things you wish you knew before becoming your own boss?
Oh man, yeah. To narrow it down to just two, that's
I
tough. That's
know.
a good question. So I really got to pick the most important ones. One thing that I would say, so one thing is industry specific. One thing is just the idea of entrepreneurship and leaving a W-2 and starting your own job or creating a company. Starting your own path. One thing is I wish I would have known on the industry side some of the industry statistics for what it took to become successful in our realm. That means doing deals, closing transactions, buying and selling properties. I really had very, very incorrect expectations for the amount of work, the amount of effort, and the amount of action that needed to be taken to be successful. And then when I was not successful within the first 1 or 2 months and thought that I was taking the appropriate action, I really internalized it on myself and said, "Well, I'm a failure. I'm not good.
Mm.
I'm not worthy of just of having success." And when the reality was that my expectations for what needed to happen in order to get a deal or to find success in, from a financial standpoint in this business, I wasn't doing anything near enough of what I needed to be doing. And so it really wasn't a reflection of me and my capabilities and my value as a person. It was really just a reflection of my not knowing the correct thing to do, as far as the industry needed to be concerned. The other thing, for the second thing, is just far as if you're going to pursue your own path in entrepreneurship, and this was a really tough mindset thing, a really, really tough, unexpected part of mindset. And I'm sure that you can lean into this and shed a lot more light on this than I could. But we're conditioned as when we grow up and then we get a job. If you ever don't know the answer, there's always someone that you can turn to that will give you the answer right away. Whether it's in school, it's multiple choice. The answer is A, B, C, or D. If you don't know, you can turn to the teacher when you're in your job. If you're not performing your tasks well or you don't know what the next step is, there's always a boss, there's always a manager, there's someone that you can turn to and get the exact definition on what you need to do within your role to be successful. And as you know, in entrepreneurship, that doesn't exist. And that mindset of a shift that it really took, that was really took me by surprise, to come in every day after day, many times a day, to say, I have no idea what the right answer is to this problem, and I have no one to ask. I have
Mhm.
to figure this out on my own 15 times a day, every single day. And to try to get over to work your way through that, that was a very unexpected, very challenging dynamic that I did not see coming when I made the shift from being a W-2 employee to being an entrepreneur.
Wow. Man, that was so major, and those two nuggets. Let's start with the last one, because I think that's super particular, and close to home, because to me in school, you even when you try to, and this is, I think this is a major difference between like living as a 9 to 5 or how we're programmed and entrepreneurship, because as an entrepreneur, I could call Dylan and say, bro, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, what should I do in my system right now? Like, I just keep running out of leads, or the leads, it's crap. What do you think? Oh, Keston, you should pull this kind of list or make this change, right? And so I
Hmm.
could call you. If I turn to you and ask you for the answer on a test in school, man, you get suspended, you get
Yeah.
expelled, you get whipped,
Yeah.
and so it it really pushes us to not, as an entrepreneur, not want to ask someone, not think that we shouldn't join a mentorship,
Hmm.
think that we shouldn't ask for help, and it's absolutely not that. And so I love that point, bro. And how has that helped you now that you're an entrepreneur? How has this shift in mindset helped you be successful?
Yeah, I would say that it has required that I elevate my critical thinking skills and my
Mm,
problem solving skills. They were forced to become elevated from what they were before. Because, if I didn't know the answer, it was just a cop out. I'd say, hey, where's the boss? Who's my manager? Who's the person in charge that can just give me the right answer? So I don't have to figure out what the solution is. The solution was always just go, hey, ask the manager, they know what the answer is. And so it forces you to really take a hard look in the mirror. I mean, and you can't stop and like pity yourself. You're the only, when you start, you're the only person in the business that will move the needle forward. And so you can't feel sorry for yourself. You literally just have to figure out what the solution is. And you can reach out to others, but even reaching out to others, it's interesting. When you're talking about entrepreneurship, when you're talking about other people that may know there's always any obstacle that I'm coming across in my business. There's people that have the answer, and that's why joining communities like Sub2, meaning people like you, is so valuable. But even still, you have to keep in mind that all of these people are also running their own business. They're very busy, and you can't just be the person who calls up someone just to suck value out of them and then rush off and say, okay, well, I got my answer. And, like, this is the first time that we're speaking, and I'm just trying to get as much value out of you so I can solve my problem. It's
Yeah.
it also forces you need to just be giving as much as possible so that you can give back to as many people as possible without anything in return, without any expectations, so that if and when you do need to reach out to someone, you have led first with value, as opposed to, hey, Keston, this is the first time we've ever met, and can I, suck all the knowledge out of you? I need the answers to this,
Oh
this,
my
this.
gosh.
I got everything I need. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.
It drives me nuts when people do that, dude.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah. The biggest thing is, you never want to tell someone like, hey, can I pick your brain?
Oh my gosh,
And
dude.
I'm as guilty as that when I first started, and I, get on there and say, hey, I'm brand new. Can I pick your brain? And to lead with, it wasn't with malice in my heart that I was leading with that. It was just genuine, like, hey, I got a problem and I need it fixed, and you don't have the answer. But
Yeah.
it forces you to realize, like, hey, I need to lead to people from the very beginning with, how can I be of service? How can I help? And then once I develop relationships, and I know, and people know that I have a genuine desire to want to be helpful to them, then I
Mhm.
can use some of that kind of emotional capital and request, some assistance in return, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense, man. And like Betsy said in the chat, servant leader first, right? Like you
Hmm.
serve and then things start to reciprocate and comes back automatically. That's just the law of nature and just the way things work. Man, I've kind of gone into like podcast style, kind of asking you questions, but I want to really turn it back around to real Miracle March and have you like, bro, how could I help you? What are you going through? What questions do you have about anything? Like, how could I serve you
Hmm.
today?
So that's a really, I really appreciate you asking that. That's really interesting. I would love to know, because so obviously for people that may not be, in Sub2, that are listening to this, in the mentorship where that we're in, that's how I got connected with you. You are very well known within our community as a massive go-giver. You're very well known for helping people with their mindset. The more deals that I do in real estate, the more that I'm in real estate, the more that I realize that it's not about the deals themselves. It's about the mindset that it takes to become the person that can operate a business that does deals. But the
100%.
mindset is it's like the foundational principle, more so than, any of these, real estate terms that we're talking about. Like, if you don't have the right mindset. So could you share with me, maybe shed some light on, what have you done to, yeah, in my view, you have a high amount of what I would describe as like emotional fortitude, your mental capacity to endure obstacles, to endure failure, and continue moving forward. I think is really admirable and can help a lot of people, including myself. Can you help share with me, how that you've strengthened that muscle and how you continue to strengthen it moving forward?
And that's an amazing question. Um, and as you're asking, I'm thinking about kind of where it started. And I would say where it consciously started, consciously, right? As far as I could remember, one of the first things that happened that challenged me was being married to my first wife. And going through that divorce really challenged me. It challenged me. It was one of the most depressing times of my life. And also forced me to figure some stuff out. And that's when I temporarily, intentionally started reading about the book that I read was Be Happy for No Reason. I didn't, would I call it a mindset book then or anything like that? No, I just needed something to pull me out of this grave that I was in, right?
Hmm.
And so I clearly remember, and I kind of see a trend here, and it's the first time I'm actually acknowledging this trend that I did. I went to Texas, knew no one in Texas, never been to Texas, just booked a hotel, and I just went to Texas. I just needed time to go be alone and read, just focus.
Hmm.
And it was there where I started to figure some things about me out. I read this book, I read some other things, and I started to feel better about who I was, right? And so even in that, I was determined to not be depressed, to fight it. And so it was through that time I started going to the gym. This was now like 13, that's about 13, 12 years now.
I was gonna say it has to be a fair amount of time in the past because you don't start looking like that, overnight.
That was what started it, man. Because I'm like,
Really?
I
If you don't mind
needed.
me asking, how did you
Mhm.
land on Texas? Did you have family there? Did you have an experience there? Was there a particular city or town that you had been wanting to go to?
Cities in a bag, bro, and just pull it out of a hat, man. Like
Really? One of those deals.
yeah, it was super random.
Yeah.
Um, but Texas was one of the more populous states.
Hmm.
And at that point in time, I wasn't super well traveled. So it was like, you always hear about Texas, you hear about Florida. And so I just chose Texas. And
Hmm.
because I wanted to be as outside of what's known to me as possible. I
Hmm.
didn't want contact with people. I wanted to be on an island.
Yeah.
And again, I'm saying this now. I look back, like even answering this question, and I'm like, huh, interesting, right? Because it was more or less meditation time. It was
Hmm.
it was that time for me to be alone with my own thoughts to try to figure things out. And so after that, I came back and I felt like I forgave. I wasn't super upset anymore. I wasn't like um mad. And so I started having better communication with my ex, and today we're amazing friends. Like we're
Oh,
we
that's
just
great.
celebrated my son's birthday, and it was my wife, her
Hmm.
guy, her kids, and I treat them all like they're my kids, right? Like
Oh, wow.
we have an amazing relationship. So but again, at this point in time, it was just really tough, and that helped me to build a certain type of mindset. Another thing that happened was, I mean, even managing the relationship with her through, like, because we didn't go through child support and all that type of stuff. We dealt
Hmm.
with everything outside of the court. They allowed us to. That took a period of time, but it also really taught me how to numb or say no to my ego, because to get there it took me being ego less and kind of just giving her things that I would have tipped, like a regular man would fight for. And
Hmm.
so it gave me a lot of emotional intelligence in being able to navigate that, not wanting child support, because I had a lot of friends that was in child support, and I was like, I never ever want to go through that, right? And so I
Hmm.
did whatever it took to not go through child support, and so that took a lot of mental building as well. Um, and then there are other situations. Another main one, and I'm kind of skipping over stuff, but another main one was when I left playing, being a DJ.
Hmm.
I had a connection and reputation and an identity that was tied to me being, I call it being a hood celebrity, because we would travel the world, and we had a lot of fans. I mean, we played in front of over 30,000 people. Like we
No
did.
kidding.
Yeah, no, we it was a lot of reputation. Like, our reputation was huge. It was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
In that world, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, and so letting go of that to live more of a Christian lifestyle, um,
Hmm.
that was tough. That was really tough. And again, I left and I went to Egypt for 3 weeks.
Oh wow.
This is why I'm saying, like, I'm just noticing patterns. Um, Went to Egypt for 3 weeks, had an amazing, like, but again, discovery, self-discovery, and that's when I started to understand more of the differences between roles and identities, and not being tied to what I do, but who I am is separate than what I do. And
Hmm.
and that just understanding that gave me a level of confidence. Like, I'm not gonna be condemned by, like, this thing that I used to do. And then
Man, all
this
of
is
these things, I just want to interject real quick. All of these things are so much easier said than done. I know
oh
that you're speaking about these, and obviously, it just I just want to take a moment and recognize that when you're going through it and when you're in the middle of these types of kind of like uh tectonic shifts in your lifestyle and the way that you view yourself and your partner or another, a career and these things that you're transferring from, I know you're having to be quick and kind of, share
yeah.
with me and everyone listening, these different experiences. But man, just to sit here and recognize like the things that I know it's taken about, a minute for each thing, but these are just unbelievably hard things to commit and actually do. And so it's very
I
admirable.
I could talk about each one for days, and
Yeah.
like, just the process of overcoming myself, to get to this point. And the last example I'm gonna give that was also a pretty big deal, um, was that I was engaged to someone,
Hmm.
and she gave me back my ring.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was based on things that I felt like God told me to tell her, when we had temporarily broken up. And it was a test. It was a test to see if I would listen to that voice, that connection. And I
Hmm.
did. And she gave me back my ring. And, imagine, picture this, right? Like, you posting pictures of being engaged and all that type of stuff. And just the public embarrassment of what that could look like, the humiliation, right? And I had to overcome that and walk through it and stand firm in it and not be bogged down by it. Now, was it tough? Sure. But I still stood, and to some degree, all of these things compounded to build my mind as to who I am today, in the resilience, in the and my ability to kind of just put myself out there, and even though sometimes it may be embarrassing or whatever, to just continue to go through, because I don't know what I could go through that's worse than some of those things that I've already been through, bro, from a
Man,
mental
some of those things
standpoint.
are, a number of those things are worse than a lot of people would ever go through. I mean, a lot of those things are worse than things that I have ever been through or would ever want to go through. And
Yeah.
I mean, you're going through things, multiple things that are just It's just interesting that you mentioned that. One of my best friends in the world, same thing happened to him. His fiance, they were set to get married in, just a couple weeks, and then she ended up giving the ring back out of nowhere. And I mean, I was there the night that it happened. He called me up late at night. I went and met him, and just held this man as he just cried into my chest. And I mean, it was, I had to physically pick him up and help him, just kind of start that process of carrying on. But it's devastating, these things that you're going
Peep,
through. You
peep
oh,
this.
what's
Peep this. I gotta add this in because luckily you were there for him, right? And my parents were there for me.
thankfully, yeah.
Thankfully, right? Here's how God set me up, bro. My best friend, he moved to it wasn't Connecticut, to Massachusetts, right? So he's in Boston.
Hmm.
Um the next 2 days after, I was gonna get a surgery on my foot that was gonna keep me off from doing any activities for 3 months. 2 days after. So
Really?
imagine getting your ring back
Yeah.
and
And then
then
you're
you're bedridden for 3 months, dude. Like, dude, the
yeah.
mindset and mental, like, and I'll be lying to tell you that there weren't days that I wasn't on my bed bawling like a baby, like folded up because
Hmm.
I no longer wanted to live the lifestyle that I used to live, and just being a scumbag, right? And so it's me trying to control this person and go through this process. And dude, it was the most beautiful 3 months of my life. Beautiful.
Really?
Oh my gosh, bro.
Wow.
Most
That is
beautiful.
okay. So that is not what I was expecting you to say. That's unreal.
Because it's what changed my life. It's
Hmm.
what turned me around. And I had a lot of moments in those 3 months when I confessed to my family who I really was, in terms of just not being a good dude, from a scumbag side of things. And I just poured it all out, bro, in being super real with myself. I didn't want to live double lives with anyone ever again.
Hmm.
And that gave me a level of freedom, which is why I share almost anything now. Like, I share anything without it having any effect on me. And there was a period of time that I had to go through, like, not feeling condemned because a lot of my friends stopped talking to me. Like, a lot of people stopped talking to me, and it was a lonely journey. And I had to go through this mentally tough, really tough time. Um, and it was due to the things that I did, and but now I'm paying the price. But how do you pay the price for something and not make yourself feel like I'm a bad person? How do you still feel you could have, what's the right word? You could be sorry for what you did,
Hmm.
but still walk in a version of you where you're not walking with your head down, right? Like, and I had to figure out how to do that effectively, during that time. And dude, it just became like the most beautiful 3 months of my life where it turned me around. And again, God was funny when he made me bedridden to have to deal with it. I had no choice. I had nowhere to
Yeah.
go.
There's no other option but to just sit
Yeah.
there and just face it, hour after hour, day after day. I literally couldn't imagine just trying to envision myself in that same situation. It's like I can feel it making my skin crawl. It's like nails on a chalkboard. So that is, oh my God, man, that's unbelievable. Your
Yeah.
ability. I mean, you mentioned it just briefly, but in each experience that you shared, it has reinforced to me. You mentioned how you had to let go of your ego and your experience with your first marriage not working out, and then career that was obviously very promising. I'm sure you put a lot of time, effort, energy,
Yeah.
an immense amount of your soul into that pursuit, and then to also and see the possibilities that could come from that, and realize that that just wasn't aligning with who you were and who you were becoming, and to walk away from that, and then to have another relationship end in the way that it did, and then to have to sit there and have no other option but to just dwell in its entirety there, and can't even go out and distract yourself. I feel like every step of the way that you've shared, I mean, to have to release your ego, which is just one of the hardest things to do. I mean, I I feel like I try to do that, and I know I'm as guilty as anyone. If I feel like I've been slighted, if I feel like I've been wronged, if I feel like I should have more because of my efforts than what I have, and all this stuff that gets wrapped up in our egos, and to try to just shed that baggage that comes from having that ego is one
Mhm.
of the things where I said it's easier said than done. It really doesn't give it justice. It is so much easier said than done, and so much more difficult to actually do it. The fact
Mhm.
that you're sharing examples that you're you're an example of what that can look like time and time and time again. I don't know, man. My hat goes off to you.
Dude, it's and I'll be lying to say if I could have done any of this without my belief in God, right?
Hmm.
Everyone has their beliefs, serve whoever they serve, but just kind of just holding on to that and knowing that there is light at the end of the tunnel
Hmm.
is what I believe in, and understanding now. Before I did it by just pushing, like just brute force and strength and mental strength. Now I go through it understanding and knowing how to do it intentionally without half as much work, without half as much things. So, like, for example, there are days where I'm not having the best day, or I may see something that starts to build a picture in my mind that isn't the picture that I want, right? You
Hmm.
could tell yourself a lot of things that it's not true. And I know, like, one of my hacks that I do is playing music and singing helps you break that mood. And
Hmm.
so, like, having the discipline to actually do it, because sometimes you're so addicted to being in a funk, you just want to be upset,
Oh yeah. Yep.
right? But I know that if I want to change my mood to get to do the things that I want to do, then I need to put on music and not only just listen to it, I need to sing it out loud, because that vibration is what changes your mood and your paradigm and your emotional mind, right? And so it takes a lot of discipline, because you're even stubborn to yourself. You don't want to
Oh
do it,
yeah.
you know.
I think we all can relate to that feeling when we're upset and we want to be upset. We just
Yeah.
want to kind of dwell in that, and we feel like we should be upset. And so again, it's another one of those things where it's a lot more it's a lot easier said than done to say, listen, I'm going to force myself to do these things that are going to shift my paradigm, and I'm going to force myself to do it. Um, well, okay, so can I ask you another question? You could shed some light for me on something.
Absolutely, bro.
So, like I said, I've heard your name. I can't tell you how many times, countless times. I know we got a chance to meet briefly at the Dealmaker weekend here in Tampa. That was really
Yeah.
cool. So, can you share with me? I've heard so many people talk to me about you. Can you share with me what it is that you do, that you help people in your program? Because I know that it's been very powerful. I've heard other people that have shared with me that, just getting a chance to connect with you on a regular basis has been really impactful. So maybe could you share with me some of the specifics of what that looks like? Because up until this point, I don't know the specifics.
Got it. So we go through different various pillars that every single person need, just like a car needs brakes to be working right. It needs spark plugs. It needs engine fuel. It needs gas. It needs air. It needs all these different things for it to work the right way. We go through productivity, courage, energy, physiology. We go through a bunch of different pillars in this group coaching program that from the beginning, some people may see it and understand and say, oh, yeah, this totally makes sense. But it's the little tweaks in there that helps persons to realize and find themselves, to find that, oh, I'm doing great here, but my energy sucks, and so like just like I shared with you, like a tip to when you're upset, what you could do to get your day back. Essentially, think about how
Hmm.
much more productive you would be being able to get over yourself faster, right? Like, so you're not
Hmm.
mad for the rest of the day. Now it's only a half an hour because you know what to do to put yourself back in a mood. And so it's that productivity, being able to schedule, effectively set goals and schedule your day to be able to crush your goals and implement, giving your family 100%, giving your business 100%. And so essentially, we go through all of these pillars. And then on top of that, I spend particular time with each person on these calls, helping and guiding them to their particular area that they're needing help with. And that's a lot of it. In trying to replicate this, a lot of it comes from um, my intuitiveness to responding and seeing things that they may not say with their mouth, but I may see it in their body language. I'm really good with hearing things that's not seen said,
Hmm.
um, and helping people to navigate through those things. So that's kind of like a general synopsis of what we go through in the high performance in purpose ways, which is a step before high performance. Is that this is more entry level understanding of the mind. Now, I know I said entry level, but you could talk to people who's been alive for 50 years, maybe 90 years, and they don't understand how the mind works. And so in my studies, I've now I'm still studying after this, like how to use this powerful, maybe the most powerful thing in this world, our mind.
Hmm.
And in purpose ways, my main goal is for people to start transforming their mind in this coaching program. And so we're
Hmm.
going to be going through understanding the mind, understanding paradigms, understanding what actually pulls us back, understanding how to change the image that actually controls all of the actions that you take, and replacing it with an image of who you want to be, um, and really going super deep in that. Then also exploring the laws of the universe, the law of supply, the law of um, the law of attraction, the law, like I have a book that we're going to study that has the 12 laws of the universe that we're going to do book studies on. um, and so it's because when you know those things and you understand it and you're ready to implement, doing deals is like a joke. Like
Yeah.
it's
Well,
it's a joke, man.
yeah, doing deals is way easier than improving and getting good at the things that you're talking about. A lot of doing deals is information. How does the subject to deal work? How does the seller finance deal work? How does title insurance, all this, and there's no lack of information. I mean, you can find information. It's plentiful in this day and age. To get good at the things that you're talking about, that's a whole nother ball game. The impact that can have, again, is an outsized impact, but the
Right.
amount of effort and the amount of intention that would be required is going to be outsized as well. It's going to require more than just reading a post about how a transaction coordinator does a processes a deal or something.
100%. 100%. It
Man.
it's this is it's a life-changing program. This isn't which is why I try to let people know, like, hey, I know your goal may be to get real estate, and in our productivity, we do go through specifically real estate things because that's what I'm good at, and that's cool. But this is to transform your entire life so that you could learn and understand how to hack yourself, because in every level that we go through, Dylan, every single level, like, okay, we got to the first million and now we're trying to go for 10 million, and then we're trying to go for like every level requires a different version of you, and you're going to go through these terror barriers that's going to be scary. And so somebody may think like, oh, let me just do this for 12 weeks. And it's like, and my one of my programs, it is 12 weeks, but I just introduced one that's a lifetime program because my past clients who've been doing great and awesome, like quitting their jobs, doing things that is super empowering, they're doing deals, tripling their income, amazing, cool. But after a while, when you're not in that environment anymore, man, that old person tends to want to creep back in.
Hmm.
And it's inevitable if you don't have contact, communication, stay plugged in to the environment and the work that's necessary, because this is a daily work. This is not uh once a week, once a month, once a year type of thing. Like, you're gonna be you need to re-up, keep your mind in check every single day. And
Hmm.
so that's why I made this program that is for everyone, something that we could all come in and really have that mind community, that like where we could just help each other, but also continue to learn, develop, and grow and practice and lean on
Hmm.
each other, have accountability. Like, my vision for it is just like it's really, really big. um but I think it's necessary because I don't know one that's out there, and that's also the challenge, where a community of people who are constantly in self-development or like mindset. um I don't see it now.
Oh,
there's
no,
there's
I haven't
events.
heard of anything like it.
Exactly, there's
Yeah,
events
I
and
mean,
there's
there's
things
so
that people
many.
do.
Yeah, there's so many similarities between what this is designed and kind of like the vision that you have for it, compared to like what Sub 2 is, the community that has centered primarily around real estate, but it's a community of people working towards similar goals, common goals, and you're building something similar, working towards similar goals. But the goals of being like, how do we improve just our mental, emotional state of being, um,
Yes.
and then all the downstream effects that can have, which is everything. There's nothing that can't be improved in your life by improving your mentality.
Yes.
Literally nothing in your life that can't be improved by improving your mentality.
100%.
So,
100%, bro. And that's what I want to help people with. Change your perspective, change your life. Like, come learn how to transform your mind, learn how to and do it intentionally. Like, do it when you want to do it, not make it happen to you and force you to do it. And do it before you get into pain. That's the other piece. Oh my God. Because people really change when pain happens. Like,
mhm,
a lot of things happened to me. It was pain that caused me to change. And once I started to realize what was happening, and I'm like, dude, every time you get into trouble and you're in the grave, and let's say you're 6 feet because you're going through something, you read and you feel better. Like, you study, you read, you meditate, you do all these things, you feel better. What if you did those things every single day? How and that's where I came up with the terminology. This is now your mind insurance, because you'll be set. If things happen, now you're more bulletproof. Things could happen and you're like, oh, I already read, I already studied, I'm already on point, versus like going down and down and down. And so that's the concept that I practice, which is why I do these things every day for myself, and I encourage all of my clients to do it too.
mhm.
Don't wait for something bad to happen to start reading and studying and meditating, and like, do it now.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what it I mean, that's what it takes for me a long time to just kinda get that kick that you don't wanna have to get, but it is the final thing to motivate you to, like, get started, but it's a lot harder to get started when you have to wait for yourself to kinda hit that emotional rock bottom.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. You don't want to do
Yeah.
that. You don't want to.
No, no, no. I agree. That's phenomenal, man. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, bro. So are you in Purpose Ways group coaching yet, or just to be in that community, man? You should definitely check it out, bro.
Yeah, so it's been recommended to me by a number of people. I'm not in there yet. That's why I said, like, I really didn't have any exposure to the group. And then I didn't really have too much exposure to you other than just what I keep hearing your name within,
Sure.
our sub2 community and the real estate community that we're in together. So this is really, I know we, like I said, we briefly got a chance to meet in Tampa, but other than that, I really haven't had too much exposure to it at all. So that was one of the big reasons why I was really looking forward to getting on here and having a chance to have a deeper conversation with you, learn a lot more about you, learn a lot more about, what it is and what it entails and what it isn't, and see if, it aligns with where I'm at and where I'm looking to go. I can tell you, so it's funny, when I told you when I first started, I really uh, encountered a lot of difficulty mentally because I encountered a massive amount of failure, and it
Mhm,
hurt me. It hurt me mentally, emotionally, where had a really negative perspective of myself. I mean, I
mhm,
truly thought that not that I had failed, but that I was the embodiment of failure.
mhm.
And now that I've had some success, we have a real estate investment company that's up, and I'm kind of past that stage, and now I'm in the stage of trying to manage with an immense amount of stress. And on a daily basis, I feel like I'm juggling deals, I'm juggling employees and different things that are going on. And Keston, I can literally feel just like my at the end of the day, my brain shutting down, and I am not processing information quickly because I feel so overwhelmed with stress and my lack of ability to manage the stress. While so many things are going on simultaneously, and there's problems with all different deals and everything. And so I'm at that stage now where I'm trying to manage and improve the way that I handle stress at a high level. And so it sounds like being able to connect with you and figure out things, from a mental, from emotional standpoint, one would lead to a much better quality of life, and then
Oh,
quality of my business goals. It affects everything. It affects my relationship, how I feel
yeah.
personally, the business side. Like I said, from having your mental stage, there's nothing that can't be improved from improving your mental situation.
1000%, dude. 1000%. And we're always gonna get stretched as an entrepreneur. Like,
Yeah.
if someone asks me, "Hey, what would you define being an entrepreneur like?" I would say it's a personal development journey. Like,
Man, that is
it's
such a good way to put it. It's so freaking true.
oh god, dude, an entrepreneur is nothing but someone growing and learning more about themselves and how to respond to others. Like, if you don't master yourself, you will not be a good entrepreneur. Like, it requires it. Requires.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
it demands it, and so you either have to elevate yourself, or you're just it's not going to be sustainable.
nope, not at all. Not at all. Bro, this has been an amazing conversation, man. Um,
Keston, thank you. I just enjoy listening to your story, man. It's really really interesting. It's really inspiring.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And man, there's so much in there that this is why, like, being able to help people through stuff, even as bad as they may think it may be, and feeling like they're at the edge, like, I could totally connect, relate, understand, and help them move forward, help pull them out and up and through. And I mean, there's really not a whole lot that I haven't been through when it comes to, I mean, and this is what I help people with, like, being in a pile of debt, and how do you still visualize and focus on the future, having hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt? Like, oh yeah, I've been there. I understand. This is how you
Mhm.
do it, right? Like, I'm not telling these stories from a place of reading it in a book.
Mhm.
I only help people with things that I have done. That's my commitment to the people that I serve.
Mhm.
I can't help you with things that I have not done, but the things that I have, that's the people that I want to serve, especially, which is why I like focusing on new entrepreneurs and people who are wanting to leave their 9 to 5 job in. At some point, of course, I'm going to grow to a bigger audience, and as I grow, right?
Mhm.
But right now, how the hell would I help somebody that's been in business for 50 years that want to scale their business? Like, I can't help you, right? Like, I haven't done it, but in time I would. And so, or I could just partner with some of my other friends and coaches who has done that stuff.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that, I seen Billy said he signed up today. Shout out to Billy.
Hey, that's
Can't
awesome.
can't can't wait to have you on the journey, bro. Um, Now, in my group coaching program, I think the eldest person that's in there who has been going through amazing transformation is in like 67 or something like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and and sometimes I'm like, wow, like, you trusted me to be able to help you, like, still. And she's one of the most transformed people. Like, it's crazy.
Well, the
um
things that you're talking about helping people with is, improving your mindset. You're never too old, too young to improve your mindset. And it's like you said, you could have someone that's 90 years old that has just an awful outlook on the world, and a really bitter and a really tarnished just way that they perceive reality. And then you could have someone who's 10 years old that can have a mindset that is the envy of what we should all aspire to, and
yeah,
everything in between. And
yeah.
so you're right, when you're saying, hey, I'm not here to try to teach stuff that I don't know about. I'm not teaching you how to build the biggest supply chain company, because you haven't done that. But
Mhm.
you've overcome more obstacles and persevered through more just kind of like emotional baggage than many other people have. And so that's what you're speaking to. And you can tell, you can tell that you're being genuine and honest, because it just comes through so effortlessly.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite ones to go back and listen to. And thank you for being here. Any final words as we wrap up, brother?
Hmm. Um, I really just appreciate the opportunity to get to have a deeper conversation with you. It's so funny. I can see why I've been recommended by so many different people to reach out to you, to try to get some time with you, to connect with you. I heard it from, person, and now I'm like, okay, I freaking understand. Keston's awesome, and no, man, you have a wonderful energy. I just walk away from this conversation just feeling a lot better about where I am myself, and just kind of more at peace in general. Just being connected with the energy, man. So I really appreciate the time. Really appreciate the conversation.
Love it, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you a ton, man. Thanks for being here,
Yep. I'll be
guys.
talking to you soon, man. I'll be reaching out.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Guys, what an amazing session. What an amazing call and experience here with Dylan. And he really dug into my story, things that I haven't told in a very long time or even thought about here on this session. So thank you for such amazing questions. And tomorrow is the last day. It was not day 31. Today's day 31, but tomorrow is the last day. It's April 1st. It's All Fools Day, but we're not going to prank you guys and play jokes, but we do start at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So I look forward to meeting with you guys and seeing you guys for the last day, and have an amazing rest of your day. Peace and love, y'all.